Now, Donald Trump has survived an assassination attempt about 100 days before elections. How does that change the future? He can find some answers in the past.
It is October 14th, 1912, and Theodore Roosevelt is seeking a second stint at the presidency. 4 years after moving out of White House, he is riding on his popularity. The campaign stage is set in Milwaukee, and Roosevelt has just left his hotel. A man approaches him and opens fire with his revolver. Much to his luck, Roosevelt was saved by a metal eyeglass case and the papers of his speech. He had prepared a 50-page speech that was folded over in his pocket. With a bullet lodged in his chest, Roosevelt rose to deliver his address and spoke for 90 whole minutes. That powerful image from 1912 has found its recreation in 2024. Moments after being shot at, Donald Trump stands with his fist raised and mouthing, "Fight." While streaks of blood flow across his face, those 30 seconds have changed the course of the next 113 days. The US presidential elections are slated for 5th of November. This is one of the most polarizing elections in US history. And Donald Trump has been doing really well in the opinion polls. Much of the negative focus has been on President Joe Biden and his competitiveness. The assassination attempt, like others in the past, is expected to be a popularity boost for the Republican. Experts say Trump is now a sympathetic character. Since the assassination attempt, leaders who don't align with Trump's ideologies have been rallying behind him. Two billionaires, Elon Musk and Bill Ackman, have also endorsed Trump for president in the last 24 hours. And Trump is handling the situation very well. Some critics are calling it presidential. The Republican candidate has called Americans to unite and has urged everyone to not let evil win. After narrowly escaping death, Donald Trump will be facing voters in about 3 months. And unlike Theodore Roosevelt, he has his party, country and world leaders sympathizing with him, at least for now. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And to take this further, we are being joined by John Ports, Professor of Political Science at Northeastern University from Boston. Professor Ports, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Since the assassination bid, there is a new kind of rhetoric that we are seeing by Donald Trump that is calling for unity and resilience. I want to ask you, how different do you think his speech at the RNC is going to be than previously expected?
Well, we will see. I think that it's a different situation. I think certainly in the near term, the campaigns are both going to try to shift their focus and kind of how they talk about the opposition. But this candidate, you mentioned how polarizing this election is, and I think that's certainly the case. And both campaigns have tended to run on the basis of in opposition to the other, because so many voters are not particularly happy with the choices that we have, and they tend to be voting not for somebody but against somebody. So the campaigns have turned rather negative. Both candidates describing the opposition as someone who is a threat to democracy or will undermine the country. Language like that is very common. So, will they change that? We will see. We haven't. Trump has not given a speech since Saturday, since the event. So he has made a few press releases, but no speech. That will certainly come here at the convention. So we'll see whether he changes his tone and kind of how he frames the election moving forward.
Right. Professor, we are sitting about 100 days before the US presidential elections. When an assassination attempt like this happens, and in a well-polarizing election, as you also mentioned, How does it change, given what has happened in the past that one could learn in this election?
Well, I think there's certainly a bump in terms of support for the person, the victim of that assassination attempt, and I think that will play out here. And you're certainly going to hear it at the convention. It will dissipate a little bit over time. I think the key in this election is not the ardent Trump supporters or the base for Biden. The key is the independents. Both candidates need support from independents if they're going to win. And so those are people that are going to step back from it a little bit more, and I think aren't quite as swayed by the circumstances of this assassination attempt. Because if it had happened 3 weeks before the election, I think it would have a bigger impact. It still may have some, but I think it will dissipate a little bit over time.
That's interesting you say that, Professor Potts. Thank you so much for joining us here on WION, getting us your insights.
Okay, thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.